Welcome to the Tennet Indigenous Wisdom Research Center. I am your host, author Tennet Setegn. In this broadcast series, we explore the profound mysteries within our research. Ethiopian esoteric philosophy and alchemy. Our journey into channeling hidden wisdom begins now.
What if the last 1,000 years of human history, every empire rising and falling, every devastating war, every technological leap,
Right, all of it.
yeah, every plague, every renaissance, what if all of that was literally just a single 24-hour day passing in the realm directly above us?
It's a wild thought.
It really is. I mean, think about the sheer volume of human suffering and triumph that happens in a millennium. And now imagine all of that being like nothing more than a Tuesday to a higher level of existence.
Yeah, it's a completely ego-destroying concept, honestly.
Really terrifying.
Completely strips away that human-centric view of the universe we all carry around. It really forces you to realize that our perception of reality is intensely localized and, frankly, quite limited.
Which is exactly what we are tearing into for you today. So you already know the baseline of Admesh thought, right? Or Admesh philosophy. It's a fundamental split between creation, which is the natural world, and theology, which is the divine realm. But today, we're going way beyond those introductory concepts.
We're really getting into the mechanics of it.
Exactly. We are tearing down the engine to see exactly how the gears of time, form, and power actually turn. We're looking at the specific cosmic measuring sticks this ancient framework uses to map, well, literally all of existence. So, okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
To really understand the mechanics of this universe, we need to look at its architecture first, right?
Yeah, that is the mandatory starting point. Because Admesh philosophy categorizes everything into a very rigid four-tiered structure, four distinct worlds or realms.
Okay, so working from the top down, the highest tier is the hidden heavenly world. And that is the ultimate realm of theology, right? The divine origin point.
Right.
Then one step down from that is the heavenly world. Stepping down again brings us to the hidden earthly world. And finally, at the very bottom is the earthly world, which is, our physical, tangible reality.
And it's vital to remember here that the bottom three, so the heavenly, the hidden earthly, and the earthly, those make up creation.
Okay.
Only that topmost tier, the hidden heavenly, represents the purely divine.
Now, I was trying to visualize this structure when I was reading the source material. And my initial thought was to picture it like a set of Russian nesting dolls.
Oh.
You have this outer impenetrable layer, and as you open it up, you find a denser, more defined layer inside, all the way down to the smallest, most solid doll in the center, which would be our earthly world.
I mean, the nesting doll works for the geography, perhaps, but it kind of completely fails on the physics of this philosophy.
Wait, really? How so?
Well, because a smaller nesting doll doesn't rely on the bigger one to exist, right? If you take the outer doll away, the inner wooden doll is still just sitting there on the table, perfectly intact.
Oh, right, yeah, I see what you mean.
In Admesh thought, the realms aren't just sitting inside one another, they are actively generating and sustaining one another. So a much better way to visualize it is like an intricate cascading waterfall. Or maybe a stepped electrical grid where the voltage drops at each substation.
The lower levels only exist because the higher levels are actively powering them. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Especially when we look at how heavily categorized our specific, substation, the earthly world really is. Because the source material points out that our physical realm contains countless stars. But it specifically defines this space into 12 spatial divisions.
Right, the 12 divisions.
Yeah, and the text groups these 12 in this highly specific mathematical way. It's 3 in one place, 7 in another, 1 in another, and 1 in the last. What is the actual philosophical mechanism behind that 3, 7, 1 grouping? I mean, why not just say 12 equal slices of pie?
Because this philosophy doesn't really do random scattering. The math always reveals the nature of the space.
Okay.
Now, while the text leaves room for deep interpretation, if we apply the internal logic of Admesh Cosmology, that grouping maps perfectly to layers of manifestation.
How so?
Think about it. 3 represents the hidden conceptual foundations, right?
Yeah.
The spiritual blueprint behind physical matter. 7 is traditionally tied to the visible earthly heavens.
Like the planets and stuff.
Yeah, the perfect cycles of the celestial bodies we can track. Then you have a 1, which functions as the solar anchor, the sun itself. And the final one is the terrestrial ground, the Earth.
Oh, wow.
So 3 plus 7 plus 1 plus 1 gives you the 12 divisions. It's literally mapping a transition from hidden blueprint to celestial cycle to solar anchor to solid Earth.
So even the geography of our physical space is like a step-by-step descent into density. It isn't just empty space, it's a structured mechanism.
It's highly structured, yes.
And to measure how that mechanism operates, the Admesh framework gives us 3 specific cosmic measuring sticks. And the first one is time.
Time. Yeah.
And I want to pause here for a second, because if you're listening to this deep dive right now while sitting in gridlock traffic and you're stressing out about being 10 minutes late to a meeting, Admesh thought essentially tells you that your entire concept of time is a localized illusion.
It is a radical paradigm shift, honestly, because we treat time as an absolute pre-existing condition of the universe. We kind of think the universe was born into time.
Right, like time was already ticking.
Exactly. But Admesh thought argues that time is just a created tool. It's a metric specifically designed to help us track changes within the lower realms of creation.
And because it's a created tool, its application bends wildly depending on which of those 4 floors you're standing on.
Absolutely.
The math provided in the source is what I mentioned right at the start. 1 single day in the heavenly world is equal to 1 week in the earthly heavens, which then translates to a massive 1,000 years here on our physical Earth.
And this is where we really have to confront the psychological weight of this philosophy.
I am struggling with the implications of that weight, honestly.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, it sounds like modern science fiction time dilation, right? You watch a movie where astronauts land on a high-gravity planet, and 1 hour there equals 7 years on Earth. It's a cool, mind-bending physics concept.
Right. Very cinematic.
But when you apply it spiritually to human history, it's terrifying. It means all our humans striving, the rise and fall of Rome, the Dark Ages, the Renaissance, the Industrial Revolution, it basically means practically nothing on a cosmic scale.
Yeah.
If one day up there's 1,000 years down here, doesn't that render human existence completely insignificant?
I'd say it renders the human ego insignificant, but not existence itself.
Okay, fair.
The dread you're feeling comes from the realization that we are not the main characters of the cosmos. We are operating at the absolute lowest, slowest frequency of reality. Time is stretched out for us because we are in the densest realm.
We're moving through molasses.
Exactly. We literally require 1,000 years to process the changes that the heavenly realm processes in a single fluid day. But, and this is key, the philosophy doesn't frame this as a punishment.
It doesn't.
No, it frames it as an accommodation. If 1,000 years of our history hit us in 24 hours, our physical reality would shatter. We need the slowed down timeline to exist at all.
Wow, okay. So time tells us when things exist and sets the speed limit for our specific reality. That leads us to the second measuring stick, which is form, or, physical manifestation.
Right.
If time is the timeline, form is the material. And the overarching rule here is that as you move down through the realms, reality gets progressively heavier.
Heavier or more solidified.
Ah.
And Admesh thought tracks this crystallization of matter using numerology. It assigns specific numbers to represent the state of existence at different levels.
Let's walk through those numbers because they're incredibly deliberate in the source. It starts with a number 1. The text says number 1 represents the heavenly world. It symbolizes the absolute beginning, the origin point, the very first manifestation of events.
Right. Number 1 is the initial spark. It is existence in a singular, undivided state. It's pure concept, completely unburdened by physical shape.
But then the text skips directly to number 3. It says number 3 represents the hidden earthly world, which is a realm just above ours. Wait, I have to interrupt the progression here. You jump from 1 to 3. Why is there no realm number 2?
I know.
I mean, in a framework this precise, leaving out the number 2 feels like a massive omission.
It really isn't an omission, though. It's a deep philosophical statement. Think about what the number 2 represents in human thought.
Duality.
Exactly. It implies duality, opposition, binary conflict.
Yeah.
Light versus dark, good versus evil, up versus down. Admesh philosophy views creation not as a conflict of opposites, but as an emanation. It flows outward.
Oh, I see.
So reality goes from a singular spark, number 1, and instead of splitting into 2 opposing forces, it expands into a complete, stable conceptual design, a triad. Number 3 represents stability. Like a 3-legged stool, it's the first number that can hold a complex structure.
Okay, that clarifies so much. So in this number 3 realm, the hidden earthly world, Entities exist in an abstract, formless state. The source actually compares it to a spirit or a concept hanging out in the imagination.
Yes.
It's a fully realized design, but it doesn't possess physical elements yet. It's real, but you can't touch it.
It's the architectural blueprint. The idea has multiplied from the singular origin into a complex design, but no one has poured the concrete yet.
Which brings us to the concrete.
Mm-mm.
Number 4. Number 4 represents our earthly world. This is where things finally take physical shape. They manifest through 4 properties or elements like fire, earth, water, and they dwell in those 12 earthly places we dissected earlier. Calling physical reality the number 4 stage completely changes how I view the material world. Today, our culture operates on strict materialism. If you can measure it, weigh it, and touch it, it's real. Everything else, like ideas or consciousness, is just a byproduct of that physical matter firing in our brains.
And Admesh philosophy flips that modern assumption entirely upside down. Physical matter is not the baseline of reality, it's the end of the line.
It means we aren't the pinnacle of creation. We are the sediment.
That is a brilliant way to phrase it. We are the sediment. Physical matter is the final, most solidified, and arguably the clunkiest step of a process that began as pure, singular concept.
Right.
To the thinkers behind this framework, the physical world you interact with every day is just the heavy, slow exhaust of much higher, much faster realities.
The heavy, slow exhaust. That brings us to a massive structural question then. We have the timeline established with the first measuring stick. We have the physical shape established with the second. But a heavy, dense reality needs a tremendous amount of energy to keep it from crumbling.
It does.
What prevents this 4-story structure from just collapsing under its own weight? How does this system explain the gravity or, the glue holding these forms together?
That requires the third metric, which is power or energy, because existence requires sustenance. And the framework establishes a very strict, unbreakable chain of power dependencies. Essentially, every single realm relies entirely on the realm directly above it as its power center.
Okay, and the ultimate power center for all of creation is the heavenly world. The text makes it explicit. If the heavenly world were to disappear, everything below it vanishes instantly.
Poof, gone.
Right. But as we move down the chain, the mechanics become fascinating. The hidden earthly world, that blueprint realm of number 3, serves as the direct power center for our physical earthly world. And the source provides a profound analogy to explain this invisible dependency.
The soul and the body.
Yes. It says the relationship between the hidden earthly world and our physical world is exactly like the relationship between the human soul and the human body.
It scales a massive cosmic principle down to a deeply personal biological level.
Right, because you cannot look at a person and see their soul. Just like we can't look up at the sky and see the hidden earthly world. But if the soul leaves the body, the visible body dies. It becomes a corpse. All the physical matter, the bones, the muscle, the blood is still there, but the power center is gone, so the structural integrity collapses.
The animating force is withdrawn, and so the form immediately begins to disintegrate back into base elements.
Taking that principle into our physical realm, the text identifies a literal, tangible anchor of power for our specific layer of existence. Within our earthly realm, the ultimate anchor of power is the sun.
The literal sun, yes.
The sun exerts the sheer energy and gravitational force necessary to hold the stars, the moon, and the earth together. Now, I understand the literal astrophysics of the sun holding the solar system together. But if the sun is the literal glue holding our earthly realm together in this philosophy, does that imply our physical reality is incredibly fragile? Like if the sun blinks out, the illusion drops.
Well, it's not really about fragility. It's about recognizing an umbilical cord of energy.
Okay.
When you step outside and feel the heat of the sun on your skin, or when you observe its gravitational hold on the planets, you're supposed to realize that this immense, terrifying physical power is merely a shadow of a higher dependency.
Oh, I see.
The sun sustains the earth, yes, but the hidden earthly world sustains the sun, and the heavenly world sustains the hidden earthly world. You're looking at the lowest visible link in a chain of power that stretches all the way up to the divine.
So we've successfully used our 3 measuring sticks. We used time, form, and power to map the mechanics of the 3 realms of creation. But there's a massive problem looming over this entire deep dive.
The highest tier.
Exactly. We still haven't talked about the highest tier.
Yeah.
What happens when we take these measuring sticks and try to analyze the hidden heavenly world, the realm of pure theology?
The tools shatter.
Yeah.
Completely.
Because time, form, and power are all creations. They're tools invented specifically to map the lower realms.
Precisely. It is a categorical error. You just cannot use the tools of creation to measure the creator. It would be like trying to measure the concept of justice using a thermometer.
Right.
The instrument is fundamentally incapable of registering the subject.
The source text emphasizes this by describing the hidden heavenly world using the ancient term Kizis albo. For context, that is a classical phrase that translates literally to without time or timeless. So if there is no time, there is no physical form to measure. And our earthly concept of physical power just doesn't apply. We literally cannot analyze or explain the divine in its hidden natural state. Our brains just aren't equipped with the hardware to process it.
Which brings up a massive philosophical dilemma.
Right, because if the divine is completely unknowable in its natural state, if it is completely Gizi's albo, how do we know anything about it at all?
And Admesh thought argues that we cannot look directly at the light source, but we can study the specific shadows it casts on our wall. We can only understand the divine through how it manifests within creation.
The text outlines 4 major manifestations, or systems of wisdom, through which the divine reveals itself to us in the lower realms. And these aren't just casual observations. These are the only acceptable ways to interact with the theology of this framework.
They're foundational.
Let's really unpack these because they are profound. The first wisdom is that wisdom gave freedom and victory to mankind.
Think about the mechanics of that for a second. In a universe governed by strict mathematical laws, heavy density, and unbreakable chains of power dependency, the existence of human free will is a total anomaly.
Right, it doesn't fit the math.
Exactly. True freedom defies the deterministic physics of the lower realms. Therefore, our ability to choose our freedom is a direct shadow cast by the divine realm into ours.
That reframes human agency completely. Then the second wisdom is that the Creator formed creations and saw himself within them.
This is the concept of the universe as a mirror. The divine is unknowable, but the intricacy of a galaxy, the mathematical perfection of the 12 spatial divisions, or even the biological complexity of a cell, these are reflections of the Creator's nature.
You study the art to understand the artist.
Precisely.
The third manifestation is the concept of mutual dwelling. The specific quote from the source is, "He is in me, I am in him."
Right, this moves beyond a creator just observing its creation, and it introduces the fractal nature of consciousness. It suggests that the boundary between the human soul and the divine power center is permeable.
Wow.
It's the realization that the power sustaining you from above is also dwelling within you.
And the fourth wisdom is that the nature of the Creator was manifested in his Son.
This is the ultimate translation. If the infinite, timeless reality cannot be comprehended by finite, time-bound creatures, the infinite must translate itself into a finite form.
It's the highest reality stepping down into the number 4 realm of physical matter.
Exactly, so that it can be observed directly.
But let me push back on this entire theological enterprise for a minute.
Sure.
If the ultimate reality is literally unmeasurable by human standards, isn't it the peak of human arrogance for us to try and map it out with these 4 wisdoms in the first place? I mean, aren't we just pretending to know the unknowable so we feel better about our dense, heavy existence?
That skepticism is entirely valid. But what's brilliant about Admesh thought is that it actually agrees with you.
It does.
It fully acknowledges that arrogance. That is exactly why it strictly limits theology only to these 4 observable manifestations. It explicitly demands that you stop trying to measure the unmeasurable.
Oh, I get it.
It says you cannot dissect the physics of the hidden heavenly world, so stop trying. Look instead at the free will you exercise. Look at the fractal nature of consciousness. It maps the interaction between the divine and creation, rather than trying to dissect the divine itself. It's a philosophy of profound humility, simply wrapped in the language of a cosmic map.
Humility wrapped in a cosmic map.
I love that. So let's pull all of this together and look at the engine we just tore down.
Let's do it.
We started at the absolute top, in the timeless, unmeasurable hidden heavenly world, a place where our tools of time and space basically shatter on impact. Then we stepped down through the cascading power centers, watching reality transform from a singular, undivided origin into the number 3 blueprint realm of formless spirits and perfect design.
The triad.
Right. And finally, we landed down here, in our earthly realm, anchored by the intense gravity of the sun, solidified into elements like fire and earth, existing in a dense space where 1,000 years of our agonizing human history is just a single sunrise passing in the heavens above us.
It really is a staggering synthesis. It forces you to reconcile hard physical realities like the sun's gravity with abstract metaphysical concepts like the manifestation of the soul.
And according to the source material, everything we just discussed is just the foundational map. It's essentially the prerequisite course.
The 101 level.
Yeah. A future analysis of this material is going to take a deep dive specifically into the mechanics of the heavenly world itself, which requires a whole new set of conceptual tools. But before we wrap up today, there's a lingering implication here that I want you, the listener, to really think about.
Yeah, if you accept the premise that our standard metrics, time, form, space, and power, are just localized tools designed specifically for our dense, heavy, number 4 layer of existence, it forces a massive question.
It really does.
If we are currently stuck using a ruler, what entirely new senses or new tools of perception would we need to actively develop just to catch a glimpse of the layer immediately above us? How do you teach yourself to perceive a dimension where the ruler itself does not exist?
We are trying to read a map of the entire cosmos using the legend for a single city block. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the density of your reality. Keep looking for the power centers beyond the edges of your map, and we will catch you next time.